Hey everyone, it's Sarah from Nova Scotia. Welcome back to Colorful Creations. I'm so glad you joined me today for another video. Today I'm going to do a swipe on a really big canvas, but I'm going to try a few different swiping tools, and then we can do a comparison at the end and see which one you like better. They all give a different effect, so we can kind of go over them and see, you guys can decide which one you like better. Give the video a thumbs up and leave a comment. Let me know what you think. All right, let's get started. All right, so here are all the things I'm going to try for this comparison. This canvas is 24 by 48. It is a paint over. I did a painting on it a long time ago that I'm just kind of sick of, to be honest. And I gave it a coat of gesso. It's black. It comes in black and white. It doesn't really matter. I only had black left, so I used that one here. I had a huge chunk of it. It was really cheap. I got it on Amazon. I do have a video in the description if you want to watch it on doing gesso, but it's pretty straightforward. You just paint it on with a brush. It dries in about an hour, and it's like it's a primer, right? It preps your surface, and it really helps with a paint over, like you don't get it cracking as easily. So I like to use it for that. All right, so I'm gonna go with newspaper, a business card. These are actually my old business cards. I moved, and the address is no good on them now, so I have two huge boxes of them that aren't any good, so I figured I use them. So I think with these, I'm gonna just give it a fold, and then I can swipe it across like that. So we'll see how that looks different from the newspaper. I also have a palette knife just to kind of slide over the paint, and this is a little heavier. This is a scraper, but it's super cheap. I got this at Dollarama, of course. I got a better one since, so I'm not going to use this for a scraper. But even if I wanted to, I could wash it. But I'm just going to, same thing, and just drag it across really lightly. And the other one is going to be paper towel. So I just need to cut up some paper and some paper towel. I'm going to do all different sizes. That should be enough. Okay, so I have a few strips of paper. They kind of vary in width. Get some variety. Cards, all this stuff. So I'll do some paper towel. Alright, so I have a few different sizes of paper towel. And because the paper towel is so absorbent, I'm going to dampen this. So I'll just run it under water, squeeze it out, and then I'll just peel one off at a time as I need them. And that's just to I don't want all the paint to come off with it. So it should help with that. Alright, so I'm going to go through my paints now. It'll be much easier than going through them as I put them on there. I'll just talk about my Phthalo Activator first, because that's the only one that's mixed differently. This is by Amsterdam, black oxide, and I had this one mixed 4:1, so 4 parts floetrol, 1 part water. Oh, sorry, 4 parts floetrol, 1 part paint. And this will be for my Phthalo Activator. The rest of them are mixed how I always mix them. There's a video to a link in the description. I'll show you my base coat. It's just a regular, just a tempera paint. Some cheap stuff. It's just mixed how I always mix. I have all these, they're kind of on the little on the thicker side. So I have these I put them in little cups just to show you. I have them in squeeze bottles to actually do the painting. So, where are we here? This is Pebeo Iridescent Green Yellow. See this pretty iridescence? Next I have a DecoArt Neon Pink. This is so pretty. I have DecoArt Silver. I'm showing you this in the container because when it's mixed up with the glue, it's not as colorful. And then once it dries, that will go back to looking like this. I have Phthalo Blue by Saxx. And this is crazy because Saxx is a pretty cheap brand. I have a little metallic blue added to this just for some shimmer. But this is really good pigment for a really cheap brand. And you can get that on Amazon. Next I have a titanium white. This is by Artist Loft. See that shimmer? Here's another cheap one. It's Mont. It's a really cheap brand on Amazon. I have a little iridescent pour medium by Artist Loft in there. But that amazing color is all from that Mont paint. Isn't that amazing? Next, I have a DecoArt 24 karat gold. Again, I have this in the container because the glue will make it look less vibrant, and I want you to have the full effect of this. That is gorgeous. Last one is Cerulean Blue. And I have a little that iridescent pouring medium in that as well. And this is by Artist Loft. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna cover this whole thing in white, my base coat, and then I'm gonna do a different, I'm gonna alternate my layers. I don't wanna put all my paint in a straight line and have it really boring. I think it might be boring. So I'm just gonna kind of alternate. I might put a line here and then a line down here and just kind of alternate them. It's a comparison, but I'm hoping it's still gonna be nice enough to put on a wall. So I'm gonna try to organize it a bit. So I'm gonna put do all the paper towel ones in the middle. I'll do the business card on this strip here, and one of the swipe tools, my palette knife, I think, on this side. And then over on the other side, I'll use this strip and I'll do the newspaper, and then the last part will be this little scraper, this little, whatever this is called. And before I get started, I think what I'm gonna do is put this on a spinner. Not that I'm gonna spin it, it's just that I like to pull towards myself, and I'm worried that I'm not gonna have enough room to get over around the other side of the table. If I come in this side of the table, you're not gonna see it at all. So I'm just gonna, this canvas doesn't have a middle support, so I am gonna have to lay a board on it. This is actually a cutting board. The plastic is still on it. A friend gave that to me. So I can just lay the canvas right on top of that. All right, so that is supported right on the frame, on the wooden part of the canvas. Yeah, so I'll be able to turn this around. All right, so I want to steady this so it's not like moving back and forth all over the place. I'll put some cups under the edges. I'm gonna have to use a stack of them so it's high enough. That'll keep it sturdy. All right, so I'm just gonna cover this whole thing in white. All right, so it's not too thick. I don't want to end up with too much paint on there and have it crack. That's gonna get rid of these bubbles. All right, now just gonna lay down some paint here, and instead of doing one line through the middle, I'm gonna alternate some different levels for some variety. I do have this sped up a little for the video for you. Now I'm laying all my colors down first, and then I'll put the cell activator in the middle, in the center of these. So I'm doing like the exact opposite, like a mirrored image of each other, if you can kind of see what I'm doing here. And then I'll pull the swipe from the center. I'm trying to keep each of these sections as even as possible so that it's a fair comparison. Once I feel like I have enough of the colors, I'll add the cell activator to the center of each section. I just find when I add it first, it kind of sinks down under my base coat. All right, now I'm gonna add this black cell activator. I wish I had this in a squeeze bottle, but I'm gonna be really careful. So I'm just gonna put this in the middle there. And now I don't want to have too much, but I also want to have enough because I have to swipe this both ways. All right, let's speed this up a little bit. Okay, so now I'm going to use paper towel for these two middle sections. And now what I'm going to do is take a piece, peel it off my stack, and then I want to put it right in the middle of the black part because I want to pull half of it towards me and then the other half the other way. So I'm going to try to put that right in the middle. And then I'm going to slowly drag it right across. Oh, so shaky. Okay. I think I'm gonna need more black. That's not really going for. So I'm just gonna go halfway across each section with some extra black. Now let's continue. Take another strip. Okay. This could be nice. So now I gotta start with the middle of this one. This one's not gonna come very far. Nice and slow. So now this one, I decided I was gonna do the business card. All right, this is gonna be really tricky. I'm gonna use this tool. I'm just wiping it off each time. Now this tool seems pretty heavy, so I am dragging it across very, very lightly. And I had this sped up, so I'm just going really light. I'm doing newspaper for this one. This big one. I'm just making sure I have a really good seal between the paper and the paint. Just make sure it's stuck down there really well, and then slide it across very easily. Okay, narrower strip. Alright, and the last one, I'm using the palette knife. And again with this one, I am wiping it off each time. The paper towel and the newspaper, I use a different piece. Alright, this is looking good. Alright, now I gotta turn it around and do the other side. And hopefully I don't screw it up. Alright, now paper towel for this side. I gotta come far on this one. Another newspaper. All right, now let's have a look. So very similar. So this is the far left is the blade. This one was the business card. The middle's the paper towel. This would be the newspaper. And the end was the palette knife. Or the paint knife, whatever you call it. So anyway, let's see how this dries and hopefully it doesn't crack all up. And we'll have a look at it then. Just out of curiosity, let's see what it looks like this way. I like that. All right, so here we are with the dry. I don't have anything, any varnish or anything on this yet. So like when I do add that, that will bring it to life and bring these colors will really pop then. So I'm just gonna go through each technique and kind of give you an idea of what I feel about it, like good and bad. One thing I did notice that my base coat could have been thinner. It was a little thick in spots. It wasn't flawless. It wasn't a perfect, nice base. And then some of the tools I used weren't heavy enough to really pull through, so you can see some lines. Like you can see some of these spots throughout. I mean, they kind of add character to it, so you might like that. But if you didn't want that, I would, like, for me, if I do it again, I'll use a thinner base coat. All right, so we'll start with the blade. Let's turn this over here. So for this one, like, it was nice that there was no waste. It was really easy cleanup. I just kind of wiped it off each time. I did find it a little heavy. I had to go really careful with it. But I mean, that's something that you can adjust. And it was definitely heavy enough to pull the colors all the way across the canvas. But kind of too heavy that kind of some of the base coat squished up in between. So if you can see, like these, it kind of gave it a cool design. So I do like it. I do really like how they come up like that. So, you know, that's something. The business card, like, that one had a lot of waste. Like I had to use a different card for each time I did it. Each time I swiped over it, so that was something. And I'm not really happy with how it left all these lines. It's like it really just looks like rows, right? Paper towel is pretty easy. It's you got more waste, but paper towel is pretty cheap. I only needed, I think, 2 pieces of paper towel, maybe 1 full piece of paper towel for this whole middle section. That's not very much. I found it the most even, like it blended very well, like I don't have any choppy lines. It was definitely the easiest one for coming down over the edge. I just let it slowly fall down over the edge and it covered that. It kind of, with the water, it was heavy enough to pull through that base coat that wasn't perfect. But it also kind of absorbed a lot of the paint, even with it being wet. So as you can see, some of the other ones, you got a lot of color pulling the whole way, and then say like here, it just kind of fades out. But that is also a nice look that you might want for something. So now for the newspaper, I've really enjoyed this one. I think it was probably the nicest one for cells. Like if you look overall, like it's pretty similar, the kind of types of cells and lacing that happened. But with the newspaper, I do see some, well, they're different, a little bit different. I did really like that. It's not too bad for looking really choppy lines like it did with the business card. It was, it's cheap, well, free really, newspaper. So that's a good thing too. I didn't find it heavy enough to really pull through that the base coat where it wasn't even in spots. But I mean, that's the problem with the base coat, not the newspaper. So I really would do the newspaper one again. Newspaper and paper towel I think are my favorites. The paint knife was, I like that one. Like, it's easy to hold. There's no waste. Just wipe it off each time. It was really small, the one I used, so I think that I would try something, bigger next time. And there's like tons of stuff you can use that way. Also, it's easy to adjust your pressure because it's just a small surface. And like it gave it a different effect here. Like it's not really choppy looking, but it does have some like kind of blends together. I do really like that one too. I think my least favorite one, honestly, was the business card. It was kind of just harder to do and didn't really make a really nice effect. Nothing. I didn't see anything special about it. But all the other ones I did enjoy. I think my my next video, I'm gonna do actually a comparison. I'm gonna do the paper towel, and I'm gonna do a comparison of silicone versus without. So that should be interesting, and we can see some really different styles with that. And I do want to explore the newspaper one again sometime. I think the paint knife would be best for small places, like if you want to do it with part of your painting as a little swipe. Alright, well thank you very much for watching. Let me know in the comments which one you like the best, or maybe another completely a different tool that you like for swiping that you want me to try or want to suggest. So love to hear from you, and I will see you in the next video. And that's going to be for the comparison of the silicone versus without for a paper towel swipe. See you then. Bye.